Not bad for a hospital ward, eh?
Meh. Did it ever feel like you were winning that game?
No, not really. But hey, imagine if I was healthy.
You mean like 3 weeks ago when you barely beat me when I was missing like half a dozen players?
Oh, yeah. I guess like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm losing any sleep over it.
Well, why would you? You won't make it past the Devils to meet me in the conference finals anyway.
Are we seriously having a conversation about injuries and your gotcha is to bring up the Devils?
Good point.
Besides, no one has actually seen me healthy this year. No one knows how good I am.
Well, how good are you?
Like, really good.
Dude, I am trying so hard not to bring up your conference finals record.
It is like an anvil hanging above my head.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. That is not a dub, and I am begging you, guys, a little patience for the love of gosh. My goodness, I'm not talking to everybody. You know who I'm talking to. I think you can raise your hand and be like, he's talking to me, or you sit there and go, yeah, I don't know, I get it. Look, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at anybody. But some of the takes after enduring this game and the comments being made and the frustrations and I don't like losing either. But this was not a winnable game. Okay, yes, I know it's always a winnable game and next man up, and I get it. But come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? The Canes are a very good team. A team where if they're fully healthy and we are fully healthy, I'm kind of just hoping for a good battle here because come playoff time, especially when everything's on the line, they're one of the few teams, I said this before, I'm like, we're a step below contending, which in my mind was that like 10 teams below the 5 on top. Basically the upper half of the friggin' league is kind of where I was at. But not one that just kind of skirts into the playoffs. Is that ambitious and optimistic? Sure, whatever. But that's what I wanted to think about the team, what I still think about the team. I think this team's actually pretty dang good when it's healthy. I don't fully understand why yet, and do I feel super confident in the take? No! But that's how I feel. So when I take into account that the Canes are on a level above us, and that is how I felt the entire season, and nothing has changed my mind on that. Nothing will change my mind on that. Maybe the trade deadline, but still then you're like, I don't really. The Canes are a great team. And the Bruins are not doing well with health right now. I just didn't expect us to come in here and be able to easily win the game. And we were in it the whole time. I'm kind of proud of the team. Is that weird? I'm kind of proud of the team. I'm proud of the team. And I want to start. This is going to be a game note. I'm not going to do it as a game note. Marco Sturm. Crushing it, man. Just crushing it. The power play looks better. I know it wasn't able to do anything against this vaunted Canes penalty kill, which actually isn't that vaunted this year. But the power play does. I like it way more than years prior. It's moving. It's creating. It's great. Penalty kill is quick and very structured and very aggressive. And it's funny because Corrali is like a mainstay on the penalty kill, and he's one of the players that I enjoy a little less than a lot of the other guys on the team. I love Corrali, but this stage of his career, he's been better than I expected. But on the penalty kill, the guy he's just intuitive as hell. He just gets it. He's been playing really well on the penalty kill. But I've really liked the penalty kill. The 5-on-5 play, once players that are introduced in the lineup, which is going to be a theme later on, adjust to it and feel more comfortable in it, you can have a game where you are down 3 of your top 6 guys, your number 1 defenseman, arguably, I guess, with Hampus playing as well as he is and McAvoy having an up and down start to the season, another defenseman who would be in your starting 6. You're missing 5 players, 4 of which you could argue are exceptionally important for the success your team has had up to this point. I don't want to overdo it, though, because I've also been one that's, like, criticized Middlestat a few times, criticized Arvidsson, criticized Elias, but you understand my point. The team has gotten to the record that they have largely because of the help of those players. You go in against a team that is a possession monster, and you know it's going to kill you possession-wise, and you know analytically you're not going to win this game, right? You just don't, because our top line's not usually going to be able to outpossess another. Like, they're a transition scoring kind of line. They're not a line that gets to cycle around an offensive zone and continue recovering the puck. At least it wasn't before Huznadinov, and still even with Huznadinov, you're not going to call them like an elite possession line or something like that. You're going against a team that's incredibly structured defensively, incredibly aggressive defensively. You're implementing multiple players that it's their first attempt in this structure in an NHL regular season speed game. There's so many reasons to be like, we are going to get absolutely pumped in this game. And that's not what happened. And although Swayman was good, I don't think Swayman was the only reason we were still in the game. I thought the structure was there. And yes, we had to bend for a lot of this, and we broke a couple times. But the structure, the energy, Zadorov screaming at the team in the second period to pick it up because, well, we were getting absolutely whacked. But also, you sit there and go, Zadorov, from ice level, I get it. But when you're looking at from Eagle Eye, what do you want them to do? They can't catch up. They can't catch up. I'm not freaking out about this game. Because even when we're fully healthy, I think of the Canes as a team right now that's better. That kind of helps, I guess, in my mind. Of like, I'm fairly certain we're not at that top level of contending. I'm fairly certain about that. So that eases the blow. Beyond that, all the injuries. And beyond that, it's November. And this team had every reason in the second period to be like, this is not our night. And they still fought the whole time. Marco Sturm deserves a ton of credit. I realize that I rambled all over that. But my point is, Sturm's doing something with this team, and he's doing it right. His system, though, very, very obvious. Again, something we'll talk about later. It's not one you can just step into and be comfortable. These guys are going to need reps, and when you have to replace top Sixers quickly like this, you end up in this situation where guys just don't know where everything's moving at all times, and it creates a bigger climb to a win. So, I'm asking for patience for the sake of the players and for the sake of Sturm because I feel like they deserve that credit. I'm not worried about this result. Is it? Not a fun game to watch. It was not a fun game to watch. And honestly, I can take all this time talking because there are not a ton of game notes. But it was an interesting game to watch as far as what can they do? What can they actually do against this team? And will they be able to put together a couple shifts that are strong and look good? I'm impressed. It's crazy to say right now, but I think it's not even optimistic to say, yeah, this made me more of a Sturm fan. This is clearly a team that's engaged, that gives a shit, and believes that they can win these games, even when they're down 2 goals and getting run out of the arena. I'm impressed. You know? If you want to call me foolish, that's fine. Overly optimistic? Fine. I'm impressed. I simply have good vibes to give right now. Simply good vibes. Good vibes. Let's talk about this Canes team. It does feel like we just played them, but that was actually on November 1st, which is over 2 weeks ago. Time sucks. We beat them 2-1 in a very impressive win where they were facing a lot of injuries. They sit second in their division, second in the conference, fourth in the league. They are 12-5-1. They've won 6 of their last 8. They rank second in goals for per game and 13th in goals allowed per game, despite having the 31st ranked power play and the 18th ranked penalty kill. And they are doing it all while missing the best defensive defenseman in the league. In the world, in Slavin. I love Slavin. I love that player so much. He talk about playing the game the right way. He's basically played one game this season before being injured. But this team's hella impressive. I know that Thomas hates the Canes, and I enjoy hating the Canes too. But my closest friend is a big Canes fan, and I'm sure he's having a good time. I haven't checked my phone since the game ended because I don't want to. So they still won't have Slavin, of course, and they are also missing Chatfield and Kotkaniemi at this time. And because I need to find something to actually insult this team on, their goaltending has been cheeks. It's been bad. Mostly, Freddie Anderson's getting the bulk of the starts with 10. He's posting a 3.1 goals allowed average and an 886 save percentage. And that's not really going to get it done. Kochetkov hasn't been healthy until now, and his 3 games played has a 908, which is obviously inspiring. But that does come from a great shutout against the, until recently, inept Rangers earlier in the year. And then that was followed by an 864 and an 824 save percentage against the Sabres and the Canucks. So kind of trying to figure out where he is actually at. Brandon Bussey, a name many of you will find familiar, has seen 5 games to the tune of an 898 and a 2.6 goals allowed average. So the goaltending isn't even that bad, but I was just trying to find something to dunk on him for. Our lineup: Geeky, Kuzi, Pasta, Steve, Zaka, Blumel, Janot, Mitten, Kostelik, Tufty, Corrali, Asavant, Zadorov, Yogi-Haru, Hampus, Peak, Aspero, Lorai, Swayman. Remember when I said the Leafs shouldn't lose to us twice while we are deploying Alex Steves in our top 6, and they did? Well, how about the Canes when we are missing McAvoy, Elias, Harris, Arvidsson, and Middlestat? Again, 3 top 6 guys, a top pairing guy, and a depth defenseman. RV is week to week. Obviously, the Canes didn't lose, but I just wanted to point that out in general. I think I just wanted to bring up the Leafs again. RV is week to week. McAvoy may be back soon, but we don't technically have a timetable there. It does appear that there's some sort of jaw issue. I don't know. We'll see. Elias also might be back soon because he's been practicing with the team quite a bit. I don't have any updates for Harris or Middlestat. It does not seem that they are close. Blumel and Tufty have been brought up. Blumel, of course, is being called up to replace Arvidsson on the second line right wing, and Tufty will be on our fourth line because Sturm's frustration with VL seems to have reached that point. VL's taken some bad penalties. He hasn't had all that great of energy. He's had fine energy. He's just not very effective on the puck. Beecher is being sent through waivers. Let's talk about Beecher for a second, because I saw a lot of people talk about this being poor asset management, and I get it. It's not like a great argument against it because he's 24, a couple of years NHL experience, excellent in the faceoff dot, historically excellent defender as a forward, of course. He's 24. He has no trade value right now at all. He very clearly belongs nowhere close to a top 9 situation. He's a 4th liner at best. That's his career. I do lament the fact that we are losing a face-off specialist. I love a guy who you can trust to win a face-off. That's about it, though. Beecher's defense this year has been bad. It has not been good. I know we were used to him being very effective defensively, but he just hasn't been that. He has no offensive game to speak of for years now. The only thing about this, like if Beecher was not a previous first-round pick, which a long time ago we threw that out the window, right? He was not going to be in the top 9. I mean, coming into the league, I was this guy is not an NHL guy for the top 6. Like, it's just not in his game at all, because every time I had watched him through his progression towards the league, he would start on the top line of a team, and by the end of the season, he's on the 3rd or 4th line. He falls down line. Anyway, so he's 24 years old is the other part of that. If you throw out the first rounder, giving him all those chances, 24 years old, face-off specialist, athletic as hell. I get not wanting to lose that guy. Yes, I would also think I would send VL down through waivers before I sent down Beecher. But Beecher is doing nothing for the team and very clearly did not connect with the coaching staff. Not based on their comments and things like that, but he doesn't seem to play the style that they want. He's not a very physical guy. There's not a lot of piss and vinegar, which I don't think the piss and vinegar thing is really for me at this point. Some people have really latched on to it. Great. I'm not saying, like, you do your thing. I don't think it's my vibe. I don't think it's mine. But there isn't a lot of piss and vinegar is the easiest way to say it for Beecher. I don't think he endeared himself to the coaching staff, and this was just the easiest, like, we'll see if he makes it. If not, not at the end of the world. Are you really going to miss Beecher that much? I guess is the point I'm trying to make. Because you can say terrible asset management, and again, you have an argument for why you setting him down over VL, but are you really going to miss him? Was he going to get traded for anything? Did he have any trade value at all? Was he going to rebound finally after years of being exactly this? I don't know, man. It just feels like this is a nothing burger. This is just nothing. This is just buns. I'm just not losing any sleep over losing Beecher to waivers, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. And I saw some takes about it where I feel like if I had talked to that person a week ago and be like, God, would you cry if Beecher left the team? And they'd be like, I don't care. You know? I don't know. Maybe that's just my take. We'll see what others have to say. All right. So now that I've basically rambled for 15 minutes about all sorts of good stuff, let's talk about this game. Puck drops. Puck drops! And 7:09 in, Pasta tripped by Miller. PP time. A wild and frantic power play that doesn't see us put together much possession or scoring chances. We're going to move on. 8:35 left of the period. Zadorov for interference, penalty kill. Tough call. Because Stahl might not have been like actively fighting with Zadorov, but he was holding his stick and Zadorov was shoving him to get it free. Weird call. We're going to penalty kill. Doesn't matter. We kill it. 3:08 left. Tufty takes about as obvious a high stick as I've ever seen, and they blow the play dead to call it. And then they all get together and they rub each other's butts a little bit, and the refs decide, you know what? These were really good butt rubs. I don't think it was a penalty. And they just walked away from it. Must have been really good butt rubs. So we're going to keep playing at 5-on-5. We're going to go to the second period. In second period, people like to talk about second period Bruins. And in years prior, do you know why second period Bruins were the thing? Outside of the record-setting year? It's because before the record-setting year, largely, we were a one-line team. People used to talk about it all the time, the perfection line, all that kind of stuff. In a one-line team, that means you have 3 lines that can be taken advantage of when there's a long change. After being a one-line team in the record-breaking year, we were slow as hell. And when you're slow, the second period kills you. In this game, we were kind of slow as well. And the Canes would take advantage of it. They plowed us for 20 minutes straight. Really more an hour because of all the stoppages. So let that play in your head. 6:08 in, a Jarvis breakaway denied by Swayman with the glove. That was huge. I thought we were going to build momentum off of it. I was wrong. 8:25 in, about 2 minutes later, the Bruins are getting absolutely plowed. I said that already. They've managed 2 shots, but neither are a scoring chance at this point. The Canes have had the puck nearly the entire period. Fairly simple play here, though. The Bruins are scrambling in their zone. Nystrom with the puck on the glove side point of the blue line is just going to whip this on net. And in front of that kind of diagonal path to the net, Stahl and I want to say Peak are battling, net front battle. It's going to hit those bodies, meaning Swayman can't possibly track it through those bodies, and then it's going to fall to Stahl's right on the glove side. Swayman sees it, starts to maneuver. At the same time, Stahl, who only has one arm free, Peak is battling, is able to jab at it and gets it just perfectly over the pad into the net. And it's 1-0. And it's just one of those plays where, like, if they're going to have the puck the whole time, eventually something like this was going to happen. A good deflection, a tough save, whatever. It was going to get in. 1-0. Can they respond? They don't. 6 minutes later, 6:26 left. Nothing has changed since they scored 6 minutes ago. Bruins are still getting plowed. Pastrnak does come painfully close to intercepting this puck on the blue line. The Canes went D to D, and it's right there. It goes right under his stick. If he intercepts this, it's a breakaway. You want to talk about the game-changing play, and as soon as that got by, I went, oh, God, please don't score off of this. Welp! Literally, that pass gets to Walker. He's going to send it to Taylor Hall, who is on top of the blocker side circle. He's going to fire this on net. Save is made, but yeah, Jankowski has a wide open net on the rebound, and it is 2-0. The difference if Pasta gets that puck, I don't know what it is, but I want to believe it was something a lot better than that. 1:47 left. The Bruins are still getting caved, by the way. Sorry, plowed. Say it with me. Martinook's going to go for tripping. We're going to the power play. We're doing nothing with that thing. And then the third period starts. We do still have a couple of seconds on the power play. We don't do anything with it, though. 7:23 in. Ghost to spare, and Zadorov are going to go to the box. Zadorov is going to go for interference, and Ghost is going to go for embellishment. We're going to be 44 for 2 minutes. And I got really scared because with the speed and the momentum and everything that they had going for them, I initially was like, oh, God, they're going to score like 8 goals over the next 2 minutes. And then my smart brain came into play and went, no, dude, this is going to be the first opportunity the Bruins have to put together some offense in like 2 hours. This is a good thing. We don't do anything with it. 9:06 left. Jeannot for high sticking, but it was actually Fraser Mitten. They review the play to make sure they get the right player. They couldn't review the one earlier that they missed, which I like, by the way. I don't want more reviews. I'm not advocating for more reviews. So they are going to get Mitten, and they're going to put him in the box. I'm just bitter about it. We do get a messy 2-on-1 chance during this penalty kill, but the puck wouldn't settle for Kostelek, so no one actually gets to shoot that puck. 5:21 left. Svetch is going to go for hooking. We're going to the power play. Nothing doing. 2:33 left. The Canes clear the puck up out of their zone along the far wall. Zadorov, we're down by 2 goals. There's 2.5 minutes left. I'm not going to get mad at Zadorov for taking this risk. He tries to knock it down early to get the play back going. It bounces past him. Taylor Hall is going to collect that puck. He's going to go down the glove side circle. Yoki Harju is there to defend the 2-on-1. But we talked about this with McAvoy. There is a difference between taking the pass away and removing yourself completely from the play to focus only on the pass, telling the offensive player you get a breakaway chance now. Both Yoki Harju did it here and McAvoy did it last time, where you're not even in a position to help your goaltender if this is a one-on-one right up to the net situation, which it was. Taylor Hall coming from an angle, inside, outside, loops it around the blocker side pad. It's 3-0. I'm not going to lose my mind over this. These guys are just trying to get anything going the other way at this point because they're down 2 goals late in the game. There's going to be defensive miscues at that level, right? That's what I've talked about with the Bruins, having to be that team that if you get that counterpunch in and you go up a goal and you're able to hold possession, you're able to create these chances because the other team is going to start cheating defensively to try to catch back up. It's something that the Bruins need to focus on when they have leads. It is something the Canes are very good on when they have leads. 1:52 left. Nikishin's going to go for hooking. We're going to the power play. 9 seconds left. I don't even have a picture for this one because basically an absolute mess in front of Kochetkov. Bodies, sticks, legs. A puck is there. Asamoah is able to swipe at this. It goes off of Tufte, and it somehow squeaks in for a 3-1 final score. Good job, Tufte, for your goal in your first game called up. Not ideal on any of it. A couple of game notes. First of all, there is one thing that really pisses me off with this. At no point did they truly recognize that you can't go for these Hail Mary transition passes. The Bruins refused to focus on tight support, quick pass breakouts, and kept trying these long Hail Mary passes that just kept getting intercepted or knocked away or icing. And then the Canes are right back in our zone with possession again and just doing their thing again. It was a weird lack of an adjustment there, and I hope a reporter asks about that. They won't, though. They never ask about this kind of stuff. Red flags that I'm not taking seriously in this game, which is really just one. Blumel and Tufte, I thought, were struggling with a lot of it. Yeah, I think it's just becoming very clear that very few players can step into this system and succeed immediately. Not to mention they were going against basically the worst opponent I can think of when it comes to creating offensive pressure. We were facing a cup favorite without a huge portion of our starters, and guys that were trying to get used to the system. This just was not an ideal situation. Red flags to take seriously. Much like last game against them, and most games against top teams, the top line, Pasta, Geeky, and Huznidov, or Elias, this was a thing when Elias was centering them as well, the top line gets outplayed. Which, I just said earlier in the video, they are not a possession line in my book, so that makes sense, right? Like, you want them to create these transitional attacks, you want that kind of pressure from them. Yes, you'd love a little more possession and a little more setup time in the offensive zone. Pasta can certainly cycle with the best of them, but they're not designed specifically like that. Most contenders we're going to face have a far, far higher powered top line. They might not be able to match Pasternak, which the Canes certainly can't, but their top line as a unit, yeah, that's usually going to win possession numbers and scoring chances. So one of those things that you keep an eye on. There's not a direct fix for it. I think that's just going to be one of those things to kind of take a peek at as the year continues and see if there's any adjustments there that are being made. Speed. The other one's speed. Once again, it's one of those things where the Canes start their blender, and the Bruins lack the speed to collect lost pucks and get a proper breakout going. They were beaten to too many pucks while they were defending, creating longer possessions for the Canes. They also really struggled to set up any sort of forecheck. The Canes are very good at breaking the puck out, but they never got there on time, like at all. And that was one of those things that really created issues for them in this one is if you get the puck deep and you're never coming up with it again, outside of Huznadinov, I think, done it a couple of times, Minton as well, but that's just going right back in your zone every time. So the speed is still a concern, but again, you're missing some players who certainly add an element of speed to your game. So I'm taking those red flags seriously. Not that seriously. I'm just not concerned after this one. I just simply refuse to be. The only other game note I have is about Asamont. I'm really curious your takes, because I like Asamont. I really do. And his Hockey Viz card for this is excellent and all that, because he got the assist. And I feel like Asamont is one of very few players when this team is healthy, but so far he just hasn't seemed to have clicked. Now, he's had somewhat of a rotating door. He's had different lines, and he's had a different left winger a few different times this season, so let's have a little grace here. But he doesn't seem to be building much chemistry with Corrali. He's guilty of some really bad defensive turnovers that he just keeps kicking off of his skate into the slot. He does love to shoot the puck. He takes bad angles sometimes and clears it for the other team. There's just not a ton positive happening right now with Asamont. Not a lot of trackable stuff, at least. And I feel like there's just not a lot of chemistry being built up. I like the speed he plays at. I like the board work for the most part. I don't think he's been winning a lot of his board battles, but he's tenacious. I'll give him that. There's still plenty there that I like about Asamont. I'm surprised that it feels like he hasn't taken to the system while other players around him has. I don't know. I don't want to be overly critical of the guy. It's just a little intrusive thought I've been having, and I'm curious what other people's takes are. Other than that, once again, I'm just not worried. I apologize if this is kind of a lower energy video. It's a very low energy game. And I just didn't learn anything tonight, I don't feel like. I have excuses for everything. Which might be more of a me problem. But I have excuses for the way the whole night went, and the Bruins stayed in the game, like, the whole time. I don't know. Just not a lot to gleam off of this one. Go Bees. Go Bees! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video and joining me as we experience this crazy Bruins season together. The names popping up on your screen now are from the top line tier and the all-star tier of the YouTube membership program for this YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you who help support the channel so that we can do more fun things, and I am always open to more ideas of how I can help give back to those who support the channel. At the end of the day, this channel is always going to be about the community, and I want to continue to grow that way, so please always feel free to reach out with new ideas and fun ways we can expand on this, or if you just need someone to talk to, I'm always here for you guys. Thank you all for your support, and as always, go Bees!